They told you power corrupts, but what if the truth is darker? That without corruption, power doesn't exist. For centuries, the world has fed you a lie. That good men rise, that honesty wins, that kindness conquers. But look closer, does it? History doesn't remember the gentle. It remembers the strategists. Those who smiled while plotting, who shook hands while planning wars. The world doesn't move by morality. It moves by manipulation. 500 years ago, one man exposed that secret. Niccolò Machiavelli. The church called him evil. Kings banned his name. But behind closed doors, every ruler, general, and billionaire you admire studies him. Because his words weren't just philosophy. They were the manual for domination. A mirror to human nature itself. He didn't invent deceit. He just had the courage to describe it. Machiavelli knew that people don't want truth. They want comfort. They want a story that lets them sleep at night. A story where virtue wins and villains fall. But the world doesn't care about your comfort. It rewards those who understand how people really work. You see, the greatest lie ever told is that morality makes men powerful. It doesn't. Strategy does. Because power isn't taken, it's engineered. Through fear, through perception, through control. This isn't a story about evil. It's a story about survival. About understanding the game that's been played around you, and finally learning how to play it back. Because the moment you see the truth, the moment you stop living by their rules, you'll realize something terrifying. You were never meant to be free. You were meant to be controlled. And the only way out is to become unknowable, untouchable, Machiavellian. So forget everything they told you about good and bad. Erase every moral boundary you thought was sacred. Because once this begins, you'll see the world not as it should be, but as it is, and trust me, once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. Emotion over logic. The strings of control. They say humans are rational creatures, logical, evolved, intelligent. But Machiavelli laughed at that idea. He knew the truth. Logic doesn't move people. Emotion does. Every war, every revolution, every act of devotion or destruction in history wasn't born from reason. It was born from feeling. Love, hate, fear, pride. The world runs on these invisible currents, and those who can control them control everything. Logic makes you accurate. Emotion makes you dangerous, because when emotion takes over, people stop thinking, they start reacting, and that's the moment they can be controlled. That's why every ruler, every marketer, every manipulator, from emperors to politicians to influencers, understands this one rule. Don't convince people's minds. Capture their hearts. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are driven by two things, love and fear." But he never said which one you should choose. Because the answer is simple. You choose whichever gives you control. Love blinds followers. Fear binds them. When they love you, they'll defend you. When they fear you, they'll obey you. And when they both love and fear you, they'll never betray you. That's the formula every empire uses. The Roman generals didn't conquer with logic. They conquered with emotion. The modern world isn't run by data. It's run by psychology. Look around. Every ad you see, every speech you hear, every narrative you believe is designed to bypass your logic and infect your emotion. Because once your feelings are owned, your mind becomes irrelevant. People don't want truth. They want stories that make them feel right. That's why the most dangerous man in the room is not the smartest. It's the one who can control how others feel. He can make anger look like justice. He can turn fear into loyalty. He can turn lies into movements. Machiavelli understood, if you want to rule, don't argue, influence. Don't explain and evoke. Because truth rarely wins hearts, but emotion wins armies. So stop trying to be understood. Start learning to be felt. When you speak, don't aim for agreement, aim for impact. Let your words move through emotion like a weapon cloaked in warmth. Because once you can manipulate emotion, logic bends automatically. And that's the hidden game. The strong think strategically. The wise think emotionally, but in control. They don't get lost in feeling. They use feeling to guide others. In the end, the one who rules emotion doesn't just win arguments, he wins people. And people once emotionally conquered never realize they were conquered at all. The law of predators and prey. The world wants you to believe in fairness. That if you're good, you'll be rewarded. If you're kind, you'll be protected. But Machiavelli knew better. He knew that life doesn't reward goodness. It rewards strength. Strip away the illusions, the politics, the morality, and what's left is a single truth. Every system, every society, every kingdom is built on the same law, the predator and the prey. Look around you. Every office, every friendship, every relationship, it's the same silent jungle. Some people hunt. Some people hide. Some lead with strategy, others follow with fear. And those who pretend not to play are already being played. Machiavelli wrote that men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful, not because he was cynical, but because he was observant. He saw that when survival is at stake, morality collapses. And in that collapse, the real faces of people appear. The predator doesn't attack because he's cruel. He attacks because he must. He understands that mercy without power is suicide. He studies, waits, and strikes only when the outcome is certain. He doesn't brag about dominance, he embodies it. The prey, on the other hand, lives by hope. He prays for fairness, begs for protection, and hides behind excuses. He mistakes silence for safety, until it's too late. The tragedy? Most people are taught to be prey. Schools teach obedience. Society teaches conformity. Religion teaches surrender. No one teaches how to survive among wolves. But here's the truth Machiavelli whispered to those who could handle it. To survive in a world of predators, you must learn their nature without becoming their slave. Be the lion when challenged. Be the fox when hunted. The lion terrifies. The fox deceives. Together they rule the jungle. Power doesn't come to the loud or the violent. It comes to the aware. The one who watches, learns, adapts. Because knowledge without courage makes you weak, and courage without knowledge makes you reckless. The predator balances both. So ask yourself, one in your job, your relationships, your circle, are you hunting or are you being hunted? Because neutrality doesn't exist. The moment you choose not to act, someone else acts on you. The moment you stop calculating, someone starts calculating you. This is the Machiavellian reality. To survive, you must become unpredictable. Never let them read your hunger. Never let them sense your fear. Move quietly. Strike deliberately. Disappear immediately. Because in this world, safety is an illusion, and only those who accept the law of predators and prey ever escape it. The myth of niceness, they told you to be nice, to be polite, to be gentle, to never offend, and you believed them because you thought kindness was strength. But Machiavelli knew the truth long before you were born. Niceness is not virtue. It's camouflage for weakness. The world doesn't reward those who play fair, it rewards those who play smart. The ones who smile when necessary but strike when required. The ones who understand that nice is a costume, useful in peace, fatal in war. You see, niceness creates comfort, and comfort kills instinct. When you're nice all the time, people don't respect you. They use you. They take your silence as permission, your patience as submission, your forgiveness as fear, and soon your so-called kindness becomes your invisibility cloak, the reason nobody takes you seriously. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." He didn't mean cruelty. He meant control. Because fear commands boundaries, love often blurs them. When people love you, they may still betray you. But when they fear the cost of betrayal, they hesitate. Society trains you to please everyone. But the moment you do, you lose yourself. The world doesn't respect the agreeable. It respects the decisive. People follow strength, not sympathy. They may smile at the nice man, but they follow the one who doesn't need their approval. The myth of niceness keeps millions trapped in quiet misery, apologizing for existing, lowering their voice, hiding their power. But power doesn't live in apologies. Power lives in boundaries, in the ability to say no without guilt, to walk away without explanation, to choose respect over comfort. Being ruthless doesn't mean being cruel. It means being clear. Clear about what you tolerate, clear about what you want, because the man who fears being disliked will always serve the one who doesn't. Here's the paradox. When you stop trying to please everyone, people start admiring you. When you stop being endlessly kind, your kindness gains value. Because real kindness is not endless, it's strategic. It's given to the worthy, not the world. So stop trying to be the good guy in everyone's story. In the pursuit of being liked, you'll lose your edge. And in the pursuit of being kind, you'll forget to be effective. The world doesn't need more nice people. It needs people who are disciplined enough to say less, mean more, and act with the precision of a lion disguised as a lamb, because niceness may make you loved, but only power makes you remembered. Loyalty is a contract, not a religion. Loyalty, the word they glorify the most and understand the least. They tell you to be loyal no matter what, to stand by your friends, your leaders, your family, even when they stop deserving it. They say loyalty is noble. Machiavelli said it's dangerous, because loyalty without reason is not devotion, it's enslavement. The powerful have always known this. That's why they demand loyalty from others but rarely give it themselves, because they understand what most people never realize. Loyalty is a contract, not a religion. It's an agreement between two parties built on value, not emotion. Machiavelli wrote that men are loyal only when it serves their interest. And he was right. History proves it. Kingdoms collapse not from invasion, but from betrayal. Not because people are evil, but because they are self-interested. When the benefit ends, so does the bond. You can love someone deeply, trust someone completely, but if their advantage in staying loyal disappears, so will they. That's not cruelty, that's human nature. So the wise don't depend on loyalty, they engineer it. They build systems where loyalty aligns with self-interest. They create conditions where staying loyal benefits the other person more than leaving. That's not manipulation, that's management of reality. Loyalty, when built on emotion, always ends in disappointment. Loyalty built on mutual benefit lasts as long as it needs to. That's why powerful men rarely trust words. They trust incentives. They don't ask for promises, they design consequences. Reward those who stay. Remove those who don't. It's not coldness, it's clarity. Because blind loyalty can destroy you faster than betrayal. It blinds you to red flags, deafens you to warning signs, and traps you in relationships that no longer serve your mission. Machiavelli's lesson was simple. Don't worship loyalty. Leverage it. Be loyal to principles, not people. To vision, not emotion. Because people change, feelings fade, circumstances shift. But strategy that endures. The world will call you heartless for thinking this way. Let them. The same people who demand loyalty will abandon you when it's convenient. The same ones who preach honor will sell you for comfort. So stop expecting permanence in a world driven by profit. True loyalty is transactional, not sentimental. And those who understand this rule never get blindsided by betrayal, because they never built their power on trust. They built it on terms. So next time someone asks for your loyalty, don't ask, do they deserve it? Ask, what's the contract? Because in the Machiavellian world, loyalty isn't love, it's leverage. Reputation is armor. Before a sword is drawn, before a word is spoken, your reputation has already entered the room. It fights for you, or against you. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. In the game of power, perception is everything. The world doesn't care about who you are. It only cares about what it believes you are. And that belief, true or false, can make or destroy empires. Reputation is not decoration. It's armor. It shields you from attack, intimidates enemies before they strike, and opens doors logic never could. Because the human mind doesn't seek truth. It seeks patterns. Once they label you strong, they interpret your silence as strategy. Once they label you weak, they interpret your words as excuses. That's why the wise never chase validation. They craft perception. They know that truth alone doesn't win. Image does. A lion doesn't need to prove he's dangerous. The myth of his power already keeps the jungle silent. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Those few who do see the real you, they're irrelevant because the masses obey the illusion. That's the secret every ruler, celebrity, and leader uses. They don't waste energy trying to be understood. They control what others assume. Reputation, once built, becomes self-sustaining. It generates respect before you act, fear before you fight, trust before you speak. That's why smart men guard it like treasure. They don't let anger ruin it. Don't let emotion expose it, and don't let fools drag it down. Because one reckless act can destroy years of strategic image building. And once your armor cracks, the world remembers only the weakness that escaped through it. So the game is simple. Be unpredictable, but consistent in value. Be mysterious, but clear in results. Never overshare, never overexplain. Because the moment you reveal everything, they stop imagining. and imagination is what keeps your legend alive. You see, power isn't about being known, it's about being believed in. Fear and respect are both born from perception, and if you can control that perception, you never need to control people directly. Your image becomes your army. Your reputation becomes your defense. Even silence, when worn correctly, speaks louder than proof. The weak try to fix how people see them. The strong design how people remember them. And the wise? They understand that reputation isn't about truth. It's about narrative. So protect it. Build it, weaponize it. Because in a world where perception is stronger than reality, reputation isn't just armor. It's your first and final shield. The eternal war. They tell you the world is peaceful now. That war is history, that we've evolved beyond the savagery of empires and conquest. But Machiavelli would smirk because he knew the truth. War never ends. It just changes shape. The battlefield is no longer made of swords and shields. It's built of strategies, politics, markets, and minds. The soldiers wear suits, not armor. They kill reputations instead of bodies. They invade economies instead of nations. Yet the objective remains the same: control. Machiavelli wrote, "You must never imagine that you can escape war. It can only be deferred to the advantage of others." He was right. Every man, every nation, every relationship exists inside a quiet battlefield, whether he accepts it or not. Because conflict isn't a mistake of humanity, it is humanity. From the moment you wake up, you're at war, with distraction, with deception, with your own weakness. Every choice you make is a move on a chessboard you didn't design. You're either advancing or retreating. There's no neutral ground. Peace is a temporary illusion created by the winners, a silence between two strategies. The weak call it peace because they're tired. The strong call it preparation. Look at history. Every empire that believed peace was permanent fell asleep in its own comfort and woke up conquered. Because while they celebrated stability, someone else was sharpening in silence. That's the eternal pattern of power. One side rests, the other rises. Machiavelli didn't glorify violence when he glorified awareness. He knew that war isn't just fought with weapons, but with words, deception, and timing. The greatest generals win before the battle begins, because they prepare for chaos while others pray for calm. The eternal war isn't just external, it's internal. The fight within yourself is the hardest one to win. The war against laziness, fear, guilt, distraction, that's where empires are built or buried. You can't conquer the world if you can't conquer your impulses. You can't control others if you can't first control yourself. The lion doesn't announce his hunger. He waits, calculates, and strikes when certainty meets opportunity. That's how warriors survive in peacetime, by staying alert when others grow soft. So understand this. Peace is a story for the masses. The elite never stop fighting, they just change how they fight. Some battle with money, some with media, some with silence. But all of them share one rule: never stop preparing. Because the moment you believe the war is over, you've already lost. And the moment you stop defending your ground, someone else starts claiming it. The eternal war isn't something to fear, it's something to master. Because in a world built on endless conflict, victory doesn't belong to the loudest or the strongest. It belongs to the one who knows that peace is just the calm before the next strike. Deception is survival. They'll tell you that honesty is noble, that truth sets you free. But in the real world, truth doesn't free you. It exposes you. It strips you naked before those waiting to use your honesty as a weapon. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. The man who reveals too much of himself gives the world a map of his own destruction. Because in the jungle of power, deception isn't evil, it's armor. It's the art of survival in a world built on illusions. Look closely and you'll realize every powerful person is a master of controlled deceit. They hide intent behind smiles, disguise ambition behind humility, and mask strategy behind silence. Animals camouflage to survive. Humans deceive. It's our version of camouflage. The weak call it manipulation. The strong call it strategy. When you walk into any room, a meeting, a relationship, a negotiation, you're entering a silent game of perception. The one who controls what others think wins. And that control begins with illusion. Show too much sincerity and they'll read you. Reveal your true motives and they'll block you. But move like a shadow, unpredictable, unreadable, and you become untouchable. Deception isn't about lying to destroy. It's about lying to survive. It's about understanding that truth is a luxury only the powerful can afford. And until you reach that level, your honesty is ammunition for others. History bows to deceivers who mastered illusion better than anyone else. Odysseus defeated Troy not by brute force, but by deception, the Trojan horse. Every empire, every revolution, every rise to power was built not on truth, but on strategic illusion. The world rewards those who hide their cards until the game is already over. Even nature runs on deception. A chameleon changes its color. A predator crouches in stillness, pretending weakness until it's too late for the prey to escape. And you must do the same. Blend in, observe, make them underestimate you, make them comfortable in their false sense of control, and when they least expect it, strike with precision. Machiavelli didn't teach deception as cruelty. He taught it as self-defense. He understood that to survive among wolves, you can't always be the sheep. Sometimes, you must wear the wool, hide the fangs, and let the illusion of weakness protect your true strength. Because in a deceitful world, those who refuse to deceive become victims of those who do. So protect your truth by masking it. Guard your intent behind misdirection. Make your silence louder than your words. Make your unpredictability your strongest weapon. Remember, deception doesn't mean betrayal, it means control. And the man who controls perception controls reality itself. So don't rush to be understood. Don't crave to be seen. Disappear behind the mask of composure, because while they're busy reading your surface, you'll already be rewriting their fate from the shadows. That's not dishonesty. That's survival. Morality is manipulation. They tell you to be moral, to be good, to be righteous, to follow the rules. But here's the truth Machiavelli understood long before the world dared to admit it. Morality isn't truth. It's control. Every society, every religion, every empire invents its version of morality, not to guide people, but to govern them. Morality is a leash designed by the powerful to make obedience look like virtue. When they want you silent, they call defiance arrogance. When they want your labor, they call sacrifice nobility. When they want control, they call submission faith. It's a beautiful illusion, the kind that keeps the masses humble while the masters feed. Because morality in its purest form isn't about right or wrong, it's about who defines what's right and what's wrong. The powerful break the rules they expect others to worship. Kings kill and call it justice. Corporations deceive and call it business. Nations invade and call it liberation. The same act that condemns the weak is celebrated when committed by the strong. That's the first truth of power. Morality bends to authority. It's not a system of justice. It's a system of justification. Those who own the narrative own morality itself. Think of history. Every empire that conquered did so in the name of good. Every tyrant crowned himself the savior of the people. Because the easiest way to control a man isn't through fear, it's through guilt. Convince him that his natural instincts are sinful, and he'll police himself for the rest of his life. He'll obey not because he's weak, but because he believes obedience is righteous. That's the true genius of manipulation. When the cage is invisible, and the prisoner believes he's free. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He didn't reject morality, he used it. He understood that to rule men, you must appear virtuous while acting in pure strategy, because morality is theater, and perception is the stage. The people don't care if you're good. They care if you look good. Virtue is performance. Power is reality. So stop letting borrowed morals define your limits. Stop apologizing for being strategic, ambitious, or ruthless in pursuit of your vision, because the same world that calls you selfish for winning will celebrate you once you've already won. The moral judgment of society always arrives after success, never before. That's why Machiavellian men don't chase moral approval. They chase control over the moral frame. They write the definitions, not obey them. So remember this. Morality is a tool. Use it when it serves you. Discard it when it traps you. Be kind when it strengthens your position. Be merciless when it protects your survival. And never let anyone make you feel guilty for playing the same game they secretly play, but publicly deny. Because at the end of the day, morality is not about good or evil. It's about who has the power to decide which is which, and the man who decides that rules the world. The true law of power? It's the word that builds empires, destroys nations, and defines history itself. But few ever understand what it truly is, because most chase its illusion, not its essence. They think power is money or status or fear, but Machiavelli knew better. Power isn't a thing you hold. It's a perception you control. The true law of power is this: he who defines reality controls it. That means you don't need to be the strongest or the richest or the loudest. You just need to shape the world's belief in who you are. Because people don't follow truth, they follow conviction. And whoever speaks with more certainty than others becomes the source of reality itself. Look around you. Every ruler, every CEO, every icon who dominates the world didn't rise by accident. They understood this law. They knew that power is not in possession, it's in perception. You don't have to control everything, just make it seem like you do. You don't have to win every battle, just make others believe resistance is useless. That belief alone is power. Machiavelli warned, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Because love is conditional. It fades when you fail to please. But fear, when built correctly, is loyalty born from awe. It's not about cruelty. It's about creating an aura of inevitability, a force people don't dare question. The moment they feel you are unshakable, you become untouchable. But here's the paradox: real power demands invisibility. The loud seek attention. The wise seek control. The true ruler doesn't shout orders. He engineers environments where obedience happens naturally. He doesn't demand loyalty. He designs systems where disloyalty destroys itself. He doesn't chase validation. He creates dependence. That's the secret most never grasp. Power isn't maintained through force, but through architecture. You build structures of influence, of trust, of fear, of admiration, until the world moves the way you want, thinking it was their own idea. That's the highest form of domination, making others act in your interest while believing it's in theirs. The weak chase approval. The strong chase control. But the powerful, they chase invisibility. They stay behind the curtain, writing the script everyone else performs. And when you reach that level, morality, emotion, even enemies become tools, pieces on a board where every move leads to one outcome: your advantage. But understand, power is not something you possess forever. It's alive. It breathes. It demands constant renewal. The moment you stop feeding it with vigilance, fear, and perception, it slips into someone else's hands. Because in the kingdom of influence, no throne stays empty for long. So master the true law of power. Be silent when others speak. Be strategic when others react. Be calm when others panic. Because power doesn't belong to those who fight hardest. It belongs to those who see the battlefield before it even begins. And when you reach that level of vision, you don't just hold power. You become it. Trust is glass trust. It's the most delicate currency in the empire of power, and the easiest one to lose. Everyone talks about it like it's sacred, like it's the foundation of strength. But Machiavelli knew better. Trust is not strength. Trust is vulnerability disguised as virtue, because trust, like glass, looks beautiful until it breaks. And once it shatters, you can glue it back together, but it'll never be whole again. Every crack becomes a reminder that it was once destroyed. That's why the wise don't build their power on trust. They build it on predictability. Machiavelli understood that people are loyal only as long as it's convenient. Their promises are written in the sand, washed away by the first wave of self-interest. So he taught, men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. He didn't say it out of bitterness, he said it out of experience. Because the moment your value fades, so does their loyalty. The moment your power weakens, so does their trust. That's the reality most leaders, lovers, and dreamers refuse to accept. They confuse emotional comfort with strategic security. They believe someone's words can outweigh human nature. But human nature has no loyalty, only need. Trust in the real world is a transaction. It exists only as long as both sides get something from it. That's why the Machiavellian mind doesn't give trust. It leases it, temporarily, conditionally, and always with an exit strategy. You must understand, to trust blindly is to surrender your defenses, to hand someone the weapon that could destroy you, hoping they never use it. But power doesn't operate on hope. It operates on control. The strong test loyalty through silence, not sentiment. They never ask, "Can I trust you?" They simply observe to how people react when temptation, pressure, or gain comes into play. Because in moments of comfort, everyone looks loyal, but in moments of advantage, true nature appears. So treat trust like a glass blade, beautiful but deadly when broken. Never hold it carelessly. Never hand it to someone who hasn't proven they can carry its weight, because once shattered, it doesn't just cut, it bleeds reputation, authority, and peace of mind. Machiavelli's wisdom wasn't cynicism, it was protection. He believed that expecting betrayal doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you prepared. And preparation is the highest form of intelligence. The wise don't trust emotions, they trust patterns. They don't trust promises, they trust pressure. They don't trust people, they trust power dynamics. So remember, trust slowly, forgive rarely, forget never. Because in the world of strategy, trust is not a gift, it's a gamble. And the man who gives it too freely eventually pays with everything he owns. Trust is glass. Once it breaks, it reflects what you should have seen from the start. The awakening. There comes a moment in every man's life when the illusions collapse, the masks fall, the noise fades, and for the first time he sees the world, not as he was told it is, but as it truly is. That moment is the awakening. It's not peaceful. It's violent. Because the truth doesn't whisper and it shatters. It rips apart everything you thought was real. The comforting myths of morality, loyalty, peace, and honesty, all revealed as tools of manipulation, carefully designed to keep you tame. You realize that most people don't seek truth. They seek comfort. They don't want freedom. They want permission. They don't live, they comply. They wake, work, consume, and obey, mistaking obedience for order and fear for morality. But you can no longer go back to that. Machiavelli wrote for men who dared to see, men who understood that power is not given. It's taken through perception, strategy, and silence. And when you awaken, you understand his message not as cruelty, but as clarity. You see that every law of nature, every animal, every empire, every relationship, runs on the same principle: dominance or submission, predator or prey, master or pawn. But the awakening is not just about seeing corruption in others, it's about confronting it in yourself. It's realizing how often you've sabotaged your own potential trying to be liked, understood, or accepted. It's recognizing that the greatest enemy was never them. It was the voice inside you that believed in limits, that doubted your instinct, that chose comfort over control. Once you awaken, that voice dies. You stop asking for validation. You stop apologizing for being strategic. You stop explaining your vision to the blind. Instead, you start moving with the quiet confidence of someone who has already seen the game and refuses to play by their rules anymore. You realize you don't need to fight for attention. Your silence becomes magnetic. You don't need to chase trust. Your unpredictability becomes power. You don't need to beg for loyalty. Your presence becomes command. Because the awakened mind no longer reacts. It designs. It shapes perception. It moves through chaos like a shadow, untouched, unseen, yet in control of everything. And that's when you understand the final truth. Power was never about dominance over others. It was about mastery over yourself. When you can control your emotions, detach from noise, and see through illusions, you become something the world can't manipulate. You become the observer, calm, calculating, untouchable. That's the awakening. Not rebellion against the system, but evolution beyond it. Not destruction of morality, but the understanding of its purpose. Not hatred of the masses, but liberation from their illusions. You no longer chase power, you embody it. You no longer seek control, you are control. The awakening isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of clarity. The moment you stop being a piece on the board and start becoming the one who designs it. The final silence, and now, the noise fades. The illusions, the chaos, the lies all dissolve into silence. You've seen behind the curtain. You've learned what they never wanted you to understand, Mom. That power was never out there. It was always within you. The world runs on manipulation, but you no longer do. You've learned that trust is glass, morality is a mask, and peace is just war in disguise. You've seen that loyalty is transactional, reputation is armor, and deception is survival. And above all, you've awakened. You no longer move for approval. You move with precision. You no longer seek validation. You create results. And while others shout to be seen, you operate in silence, letting the world bend to your will without ever realizing how. That is the final stage of evolution. When you no longer fight for control, because you are control. When you no longer chase power because you've become power itself. So disappear from the noise, detach from their definitions, move like time, unstoppable, unseen, inevitable, because the greatest dominance is not being feared or followed. It's being unreachable. The game continues. But from now on, you don't play it, you own it.